Today I'm reacting to Frieren episode 5. The next 3 episodes are on Patreon. Oh, this is opening different. Such gorgeous visuals for this section. I didn't get to say that the last episode. The inclusion of heaven, I suppose, would push this into like high fantasy, kind of? I'm not entirely sure how religion plays into fantasy. I'm not as used to seeing it. I'm still curious as to why they're not using stuff like brooms and whatnot to fly around in this world. What is the rationale behind not having, like, you know, bona fide transport in this world? So if their adventure was only 100th of her life, that would place her several thousand years old then, correct? Just that montage we're getting, it feels like we've accomplished so much in just 4 episodes. It goes without saying that a character like Frieren is really great for the audience as well. Like, literally, as Frieren said, she's literally already spent half of her life with Frieren. Will this be the episode we get the boy? Maybe another episode or 2. I'm also curious to see if this OP is going to change after episode 12. Not too long, not too short. Great OP. I'm really happy we're getting this flashback. It needed to happen. Oh. I'm so curious to find out how important souls are in this world. Such a genuinely earnest relationship to souls is really compelling. I'm loving all the music so far. It feels like it doesn't lean too far into the folkiness necessarily, but I still really like it. Yeah, and here we go. Continuation of ghosts, spirits, souls. And I love these montages of when they're going about looking for clues because it really creates a tangible sense of world. Interesting. Yeah, even just this episode being called Illusions of the Dead. Oh, I'm just so excited to find out like what even leads to a person becoming undead in this world. I'm so excited. Well, Frieren, you've been wanting to help villagers so far, so what can I say? At this point, I feel as though Frieren would be able to help on her, like, own regard. I'm curious to see how they're going to characterize Frieren now that she's, well, a grown woman now. What's our illusion going to be in this episode? Unless, of course, they're going to fool our mages. Oh, Frieren. I love how so far they're presenting Frieren as just effortlessly cool. That's so cool. I love how they used the flashback of her and Haidar at the beginning of the episode to emphasize this section even more. And yeah, clearly how her memories are part of the illusion now. Okay, so we have Himmel's illusion. How is Frieren going to react? Is he going to say something new? What's going to happen now? Anything significant? Has she hesitated? I wasn't sure if that was her hesitating for a slight second or not. I didn't consider how she'd be able to see Haidar. I really love that last scene. Oh, 28 years, Central Lands. I love how that last scene we're able to see into Frien's mind. I don't just mean with the illusion, I mean with her actual inner monologue. Interesting. But of course, now as an audience member, I'm primed for anything being an illusion. Love that pupil shot. Whoa! That genuinely frightened me. I'm not playing into it. Oh. Oh. I love her. I'm curious to see how long this particular arc is going to last for at this point. Now, of course, I'm thinking of Stark from Game of Thrones. I think of this in any fantasy show I watch. Where did he go to the bathroom? Oh, okay, we're getting Stark right away. Oh, is this our boy? Is that him? So, was he just a boy and he was able to defeat this dragon? Last episode I thought we'd be seeing him that episode, and this episode I said 3 episodes. Where? Yeah. So cool. Okay. God, this is such a cool story. The slow acquisition of party members just makes the story feel so earned. Frieren, be nice. I wasn't expecting that bit of comedy. I genuinely was not expecting this. This is brilliant. My boy. Classic anime here, just love it. Oh, that's so good. That was a great scene, I really liked that. It's already such an interesting dynamic we have set up with these 3 very specific characters. He does, he seems lovely. Well, she still is. She doesn't do anything out of line. It's hardly the dragon. Unless Stark went looking for the dragon. I love these moments of downtime in the episodes of Frieren. It really helps the pacing. I really, really enjoy it. Interesting. Such a fascinating character. The show really excels so far at doing so much with so little. The little flashes of characterization we get really work quite a while. Oh, what? I was just getting into that. I was so engrossed in the episode that it took another second or 2 for my brain to click, oh wait, this isn't plot happening right now. Like, I started reading the subtitles to the song because I'm just so into absorbing the story. That's why I had a delayed reaction. What I find so interesting about a show like Frieren is that ordinarily in a TV show, if I found out 3 or 4 episodes in that the main story is going to be this is a 10-year journey, then I'd be like, oh, God, how long are they going to stretch this out for? And even though I had a little feeling like that at the beginning of this episode, I realized, wait a minute, this is Frieren. At the beginning of this episode, I was only 4 episodes in, and I already trust these storytellers with my life, insofar as this first season goes. Anyway, I know nothing about how well received the show is, honestly, even at this point. So, be that as it may, to kind of stay on track so I don't lose that train of thought. Each episode seems to have, like, with maybe the exception of the first episode, kind of like a story for each half of the episode. So the previous one had them clearing the beach, and then the second one had them finding the true grimoire to search for heaven. And now this episode had the first half dealing with the illusions of the dead, and then the second half to do with Stark, so we finally meet him. And I think that really helps the pacing. It helps the pacing, but more so than that, it's actually just illustrative of how well the pacing itself is. Just making sure. Yeah, still recording. It's illustrative of how good the pacing is, in the sense of the writing is so sharp to the point that they really don't need to... Nothing about what I'm watching so far seems drawn out. And when it got to that scene where Frieren is going back to her room and she's staring up at the moon, that transitions into the flashback of her speaking to Aizen by the fire, moments like that feel really, really earned from a pacing point of view, because everything else is so fast-paced. I love the fact that the plot is just like bang, 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 bang. With regards to the episodic plot is extremely fast-paced, and then the overarching plot is really taking its time. And I think that dichotomy between what it is to be fast-paced and what it is to be slow-paced must be really, really difficult to try to write in this type of story from like a screenwriting perspective, because you're trying to have this balance between the mentality of a protagonist who's 1,000 years old and time is nothing to her. Like 30 years is, I don't know, it's like, it's like only kind of like a handful of months even. Do you know what I mean? Which in and of itself is really just like, when we think of 3 months as being like 12 weeks, that's essentially what 30 years are to her. And that's easily a third of Fern's life. So like that, the show has to make this balance between how do we make the passage of time believable but still engaging. And I think they're doing a really, really good job. I think that I'm predicting that this supposed 10-year journey might be done, assuming that they're sticking to it, might be done by the end of the 12th episode, because now that Fern's part of the party, we can't skip forward 80 years like we did in the very first episode. Do you know what I mean? And similar with Stark, who I assume is just a regular old human. So, suffice it to say, each episode so far is split into this A and B story. But now there's this overarching arc going on about the travel to Oriel to be able to visit the dead and to be able to speak to them. So I'm curious, because what I've said in the first couple of episodes so far is that there is this overarching theme to do with Frieren, and I suppose now it's applying to Fern as well, about having to face the future in order to deal with the past, and of course face the past in order to deal with the future, and how that's very pronounced in this type of story. One where not only is your protagonist well over 1,000 years old, but also deeply affected by the people who she comes across, because it's dealt with in a lot of different media, and I think I addressed this in my review for the very first episode, that it has to be such a mental conundrum is such an understatement. The human mind can't possibly know what it's like to just see your own species die again and again and again. We're used to having a pet dog pass away after a decade, but to have humans pass away from what is less than a decade humans who you grow an attachment with. But because they are human, they are susceptible to danger. They could be gone just like that as well. Likewise, you have the inverse of how the death of a mage or how a death of a dwarf would... Yeah, because we don't, in our human world, we don't have an equivalent of that, right? Hence why we have religion to be able to get us by. I do want to keep these reviews shorter than I have been so far. So what I'll say about the episode so far, insofar as do I have any thoughts or predictions as to where it's going to go? Well, it's so funny because I was originally thinking that the dynamic between the three of them is really, really interesting, which I still stand by, when I was thinking that Stark is going to be cool and suave and maybe like a little bit more volatile compared to the other two, and it's kind of a bit of a frenemy situation for a while. But then you had the comedic subversion of, nope, he's just a coward. He won the staring contest because he essentially was frozen with fear. That genuinely took me by surprise, and I'm really, really happy that happened. It was really great to see. As I said throughout the episode, the comedy that does happen throughout the show has been very organic. So at this point in time, just to bring this review and reaction to a close, do I have any type of predictions? Well, it's funny because, again, ordinarily I'd find it a bit of a slog if they were to drag out the 10-year adventure for like the next 5 to 7 episodes, but I think that whatever they're going to do, they're clearly going somewhere intentional with the storyline, because there's been so much of a deliberate attempt to show how this party is earned, how Frieren has earned herself to be by Frieren's side, and how Stark will do the same. And I love the way that connects to the fact that he was Eisen's, not necessarily protege, but his student at the very least. That gives Frieren, and as such us, an extra incentive to like really be on his side. So how fast are we going to get there? Are we going to be dealing with the dragon on the very next episode? It's possible that we deal with the dragon in the next episode, and then that's our A plot, and then the B plot is kind of a mystery. But it has been a while since I've seen a show that has dealt with this much plot so quickly. It's really, really insane. And like I said, I want to keep these reactions and more so the reviews as kind of short as I can, so I think I'm going to leave it there. I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to support me, whether you're one of the free viewers on YouTube or you're one of my patrons. Either way, thank you so much for paying me your attention. I'm truly grateful for it. I love being able to do this, and I hope to be able to do it for a very long time. So I think I'm going to leave it at that for today. Arigatou gozaimasu. Thanks for watching.